Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings. Hope everybody had a great week out there. And the Mets certainly had a terrific week, coming off a 2 out of 3 victories over Washington and Miami, and then they go out to Cincinnati and sweep Cincinnati at home. Just a terrific week. Off day tonight as we record this on Thursday evening, and they will play the Atlanta Braves, so good chance to rack up more victories. As we said, as we talk right now on this off night, the Mets are one game out of the first wild card spot and are in a virtual tie for the second wild card spot. And as I am recording, the St. Louis Cardinals are losing to the Milwaukee Brewers. So if the Brewers can take down the Cardinals tonight, the Mets will be in the wild card shot all by themselves. And nobody saw this coming. I certainly didn't. I admit that. Did not think they could put together a run of this magnitude and get back into this race. But they have. They are winning and playing good baseball. And St. Louis is going sideways. Miami has fell apart, and Pittsburgh has fallen apart. And the Giants are struggling. So the Mets are Johnny on the spot right at the right time, being there and getting the job done when all the other teams are falling back to the pack. They were able to put together a streak and get back into this race. And, you know, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they could still have an outside shot at the division. It's really an outside shot. They're 8 games back, but crazy things have been known to happen, and Washington's always been a team that could choke a little bit going down the stretch. And if that happens, who knows what could go on and occur. And they just lost Strasburg. I wouldn't count on it, though. I would be more focused on the wild card right now. And then anything could happen from there on in. If they get the first whoever wins the wild card will more than likely play the Cubs because they have the best record. And that could be an interesting matchup either way for the Mets. As you remember, they lost all the games to the Cubs last year and then swept them in the playoffs. Did a little bit better during the regular season with them this year, but it'll remain to be seen whether or not Gesellman and Lugo and Montero can take them in all the way with the help of Syndergaard and Cologne. And I really think they need to get deGrom back. I think that's going to be the key over the next couple of weeks. If deGrom can come back and pitch like deGrom can pitch, then that improves their chances a lot. If not, then we just got to hope that these young guys can keep up the pace. And that may be asking a lot, but we'll see. We shall see as we go on. And I know I talked about a change at the top, and I still feel that they need a change in the organization at the general manager's job. But you have to applaud the job that Terry Collins is doing. He has kept this team together. And it seems like perhaps his rant when he said he would go to AAA and find guys that could play up here and walked out of the room. Since then, the Mets have gone 17-9. They scored the third most runs in baseball and picked up 7 games in the standings. Was it the rant that got him going? I think it was a combination. It might have been that. As I said, I think it was the return of Cespedes, Reyes, and Cabrera. Also, the job that the young pitchers are doing. Lugo came up, pitched brilliantly. Gesellman has had some terrific outings. Montero has struggled a little bit, but still pitched pretty well. Consider that the first game he pitched, he had 6 walks, not good, but gave up no runs and kept him in the game, so that helped there. The last start he had, he gave against Cincinnati, he gave up 3 runs, 4 walks, but again, 3 runs was not a lot. And they were in the game and came back to win the game. So Montero's pitched fairly decently, showed signs of resurrecting his career. Let's put it that way. He's shown that he's his good stuff again. He's had some control issues, and that's really what he's going to have to work on to get back to that top prospect standing that he had just a few short years ago. But at least the velocity is there, the pitch is there. It's just a question of control with him, and I'm sure they'll work very hard on that in the offseason. So what else news is new around the New York Mets? Well, in case you haven't heard, they've signed former NFL quarterback Tim Tebow. Yes, they signed Tim Tebow to a minor league deal, the team announced this morning. Tebow, of course, had the big tryout a couple of weeks ago, the former NFL quarterback who decided now he wants to try Major League Baseball or professional baseball. Had a tryout the other day, and the Mets were not thought of to be a team that would be that interested, and lo and behold, it's the Mets that end up signing him. So we'll see. I don't know really the reason why. Alderson said the team isn't thinking about how likely he is, Tebow, to make it to the majors, rather focusing on the process and what it might take to get him to the majors. Again, don't really understand why they made this particular move, but it really doesn't really cost anything, and it's going to help some affiliates out or ease the pain of some affiliate next season when he goes to a minor league team, and perhaps it's going to help draw people to the stadium, whether it be Brooklyn or whether it be St. Lucie or Binghamton or Columbia. It'll be interesting to see what level they feel his talent is at, and they will place him after spring training next season. But it really has no bearing on this year. But the Mets went out and signed Tim Tebow. I don't know. I'm just as confused as you on this one. But we'll just have to wait and see if it pays off and whether it was just a publicity move or why they signed him. I hear also that his agent is the same agent as Cespedes and Syndergaard, so maybe there was some easing there, doing somebody a favor by signing him. Who knows? We'll see. Most experts thought he would have went Tebow, that is, would have went to the Atlanta Braves. They were interested in him, but somehow he ended up with the New York Mets. So Tim Tebow's a Met. They will send him to the Instructional League, which starts in a week or so in Port St. Lucie, and they'll assess his talents and see where he goes from there. All right, let's take a break right now, and we'll be back after these messages.
Fans and book fans as well. This is Frank Nappi, author of the Legend of Mickey Tussler series, inviting all of you to learn more about my protagonist, Mickey Tussler, an incredible pitching prodigy who has autism. Follow Mickey's journey as he captures the hearts of fans everywhere with his blazing fastball and indomitable spirit. Please visit Amazon or www.franknappy.com for more information.
Hi, this is the world-famous Mr. Brewtown of BrewtownSports.podomatic.com. You know, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, Brewtown Sports. You can also listen to the show at Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, and iTunes.com. And we've got the new one. It's called BrewtownRadio.weebly.com, but the one that I'm most proud of being on is BaseballPodcast.net. It is the home of great baseball talk shows. Check it out, my show and all kinds of other programs all about Major League Baseball. So check it out. That's baseballpodcast.net, the home for great baseball talk shows.
The Phillies and Mets rivalry has never been better. Hi, my name is Rich Baxter, and I host Phillies Talk Podcast. I hope you'll join me as we talk all about the Phillies all season long. That's Phillies Talk Podcast at fightinphillies.com. And now back to Gary Mack and this great edition of Mets Musings.
516-619-6341. That is the comment voicemail hotline if you'd like to be a part of the show, and drop us a line, leave us a comment or a voicemail, question, anything at all. Call that number, 516-619-6341, or go to MetsMusings.com and click on that widget in the middle of the screen, and that's a speak pipe, and you can leave a voicemail right through your computer through your computer's microphone. Or if you prefer to do things the old-fashioned way, send us an email at metsmusings@gmail.com. The Facebook page is facebook.com/groups/MetsMusings, and the Twitter handle is at MetsMusings1. And if you'd like to help out the show, check out our Patreon page. Check out the campaign at patreon.com/MetsMusings. And I'm back, and we really don't have a minor league recap anymore because the seasons are all pretty well done. Nobody's in the playoffs, so no need to look at that. The Cyclones have missed the playoffs as well as everybody else, the Fireflies. And I'm not sure about St. Lucie. I forgot to check on them. We'll have to look into that. But no minor league recap. But we do have a voicemail from our good friend Sean from the UK, and Sean is actually in the United States right now. He is out in LA, adding on to his total of stadiums visited, and not making the trip east though this year. So, but Sean called in, I think before he left England. So let's take a listen to that.
Hi Gary, it's Sean in Bristol, UK. Gary, currently I'm sitting in Bristol Airport, ready to make the long haul over the pond to Los Angeles for my annual baseball park trip. I'm going to be ticking off 3 ballparks on this trip, Dodgers Stadium, Angel Stadium, and driving down to Petco. So slowly getting to that magic 30. But I just wanted to phone up, leave you a message, Gary, basically about Terry Collins. I know probably it came up in the conversation sometime in July that whether they needed to get a replacement. But this guy has done an absolutely stand-up job of putting together a team that are grinding out results at the moment. And I tip my hat to him. And even your man, Gary J. Bruce, starting to hit a little bit, so looking good for when they travel to Cincinnati, or when they play Cincinnati later today. Anyway, Gary, love what you're doing, and keep up the great work you're doing on the show, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye.
And thank you, Sean, for checking in. It's been a while since we heard from you, but it's always good to hear from you. And yeah, you're right. We mentioned a little bit earlier about Terry Collins and the job that he's done and kept this team together and in this race, and really deserves all the credit he gets. You know, the guys came back, but he kept them together, and that's the main thing, and did really a terrific job. And as you recorded this on Monday, I think you said, so Jay Bruce did not have that greatest series. He got a little bit hot, and I thought we could get through a show without mentioning Jay Bruce, but apparently not. And Sean brought it up, folks, not me. But Jay Bruce did not even play yesterday, and they still managed to win without that thunder of a bat in in the lineup. So he continues to be a question mark as we go along, and I still believe it was a terrible trade. I can't change my thought on that. I believe that it was a trade made in panic, and it's a trade that should not have been made and opened up all kinds of other different possibilities going down the road that they could have had solved. And now it's a big question mark. And again, I think I give him his $1 million at the end of the year and buy out the contract and do not exercise the option on him. That's what I would do if I was in that position. And just say goodbye to Mr. Bruce. He's not be performing, and I don't think he will perform. I don't think he's a New York player. Some guys can play here and some guys can't, and I think he's a guy that can't play here. And I think that's just it. That's the bottom line. A couple of other notes before we go. Short show. Lucas Duda has started hitting soft toss in Port St. Lucie and could hit live batting practice soon, and keep saying that he will return this year. Good luck. We'll see if we can see that. Maybe we'll get him back for the playoffs. And David Wright is going to see a specialist in California about his neck again. It's just a regular checkup to see how everything is progressing, and he expects to be back fully healthy, I guess, for David Wright next season, come spring training. And really, not too much else to report. We sit and wait on deGrom and Matz. Matz is throwing from flat ground. deGrom is not doing anything that I have seen reported anywhere. So we wait to see about him and his forearm soreness. And they did X-ray it and MRI it, and there is no structural damage, so everything is good there. Matz with the shoulder impingement and the bone spurs, we wait to see. Frankly, I would just consider shutting him down. At this point, they are gelling with these new guys, and perhaps you would shut him down and let him get fixed and aim towards next year and hope that these young guys can carry you through to the end of the year. But no question on that. They are just keeping Matz and seeing whether they can bring him back this year. So let's hope for the best that he can come back, of course. And the same thing with Jacob deGrom. But right now, it doesn't look good. But who knows? Things can change very, very quickly. And we just have to wait and see. So let's just keep rooting. All they have to do is, especially now that they're in a tie for the wild card, they just have to go out and take care of business. They have to go out and just keep winning, and they have the schedule in their favor. They will have 3 games with Atlanta, as I said, and then 3 games with Washington, and that's probably the toughest team that they have left on the schedule. They will come home and play 3 with Minnesota, 3 with Atlanta, and 4 with Philadelphia, before going to Miami and Philadelphia to end the season. So the schedule works out well for the New York Mets. They have teams in front of them that they should beat. And sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes you lower yourself to their capabilities. And sometimes those teams get up because they want to knock you out of the playoffs. But let's hope that they can do what they did to Cincinnati and sweep and just keep winning series. 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. And that's all you can do. Just take care of business, win as many games as you can, and the rest will happen if it's going to happen. So that's what we have to hope for. Well, that does it for this edition of the podcast. This edition is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you would like to help in keeping this podcast going, I urge you to check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MetsMusings. So thanks for listening to this episode, and until next time, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets!